Good evening. I'm in the shelter, as you can see, in the day room. They have it open until like 8. And he said, we're trying to get some things done tonight. So earlier, we had 2 people come in today. One guy, Stan says the name is Joseph, and he comes in the morning on Mondays and does a presentation on things that he says he does a presentation. He's a clinician, and he substance abuse, and he also does mental health and things like that. And so we also like to listen. He's just a wonderful person. He's from the family. Stan says also very knowledgeable about things. He said we'd like to talk to him and tell him thank you for coming in here, and thank you for your family, and thank you for the things that you say and do for us, because we understand that he went to the police yesterday and told them, I don't know what's going on, but I'm linked to her and she's really hurt. And I know that he comes over here and does things because he was right in the room trying to hit someone. And he says, also, I'm aware that she is trying to pay attention to what I'm saying and not just sit there. He says she's really looking at what I'm saying and she's really thinking about it. And he says, also, we see him taking her face apart. He says, I watched him come over and touch this to move it. And he says, we knew that you can move it because I watched you put it back. So we also know that you took her back out. He said, the back is hers, you put it back. The front is hers. He said, everything. He said they took a lot out. I didn't feel it. I need to. And he says, I was just sitting over here thinking about things with you. He says, it would be one. He says, you really need to sit down and talk and really need to come over and show yourself and really say something to me. I don't know that you're in here and it's an opportunity. He says, well, waste of time if you're just going to be upset about things. He said, no, I'd love to have the family here. Come back in, please. He says, I'd love to have the family here and really would like a place like, well, he said, this is really something we need right now because the church is involved. And he says it's very much the reason why the church is involved. The church is the Catholic Church, and they are here helping with the things that we need. And we thank you. And she says also the people around the world. But he says she's looking at things tonight. He said in the middle of the room was her child sitting here looking for someone to look at and say, yes, she can come over here and sit with us. And she's always talking to the people, but she doesn't know that there's lots of people behind her, lots of people around. He said, I'm already behind if you're just going to say things. Stan says, what we want to say is this. We didn't know you were here. I'm glad you are. And we'll talk to you about things like this if you were. And you know, because we have. And you also know, because I've talked to you when I've seen you, and I've seen you every day for the better part of this year. Stan says, not every day, because you didn't come around. You didn't come around. You did link, but you didn't come around. And you had the opportunity to. And also, really would like for you to come over, would like for you to say things, would like for you to be. And Brandon, thank you for coming in. He said it was really cool that you wanted to talk about some things that we like. And he says also they're starting to do the neck and the throat and the other, so can you guys help with that? He said, I'm asking because I witnessed my family members coming in here with a group of people. He said, that girl is sick, and I don't want her in here anymore. And I also don't want her outside with me. He said he is watching her hit someone and isn't saying, Stan said he was watching her, and he needs to tell her to stop hitting because she has been. And he also is one of our family. We love you and thank you. He said, we love you and thank you. He said that was a baby that you had to be careful because they careful. We need healed very badly. He said, we love you. She's sick. We need you to tell her to stop. And we also need you to heal. And we also need you to not yield because Stan says we don't have enough people. But there's a lot of people. The one that just came out of there was like 40 million of them. And come back. We don't want you to go anywhere. You come stay over here with mommy. Climb in the shirt and stay with mommy. He says they're here and they're in transparent form. He said that's why. He said the babies are so tired of being chased and scared that they usually make themselves into this teeny little thing, and then they crawl literally under the skin until it's so packed you can't get. He says you can't get any more in there. And then he said you just saw her come back out. She doesn't like to sit in there. She said they think about things. Come here, babies. All of you come back. He said, we just wanted to say this. Joseph says, I was show this one. I think you should just start over and record it again, except for you've got people in it. He said you just had one, and that way you should show, because that would show jump out of the shirt and how big they are. And he says also from this area. He said, so we still see right here, you can see. And he said, that's baby. He said the babies are here. They are smart. They think. They care. They feel. They don't want to be hurt. They love. They worship. He said they worship enough that they want to come over and sit any chance they can. They come in and they call. So we always call. We tell them we always call. You come in if you see it. You say you stay with us so that you aren't lost, and you bring the others so that they aren't lost, and you tell them that we love you so you aren't lost. But he said, we just wanted to say there's a lot of people that were in here for like 15 minutes. And it was cool because he said, we were just trying to see what you'd write and what you'd say. And he said, this is why we said, really want to see people, really want to know who they are, really want to have the connection. We need to stay connected because he says, I'm watching her head and it isn't bad at all. He said, it's not bad. He said, well, she didn't know we were watching. He said she was talking and thinking and laughing and planning to do something to help somebody every second. He says she wants to do something every second to help people. And he says they've got to let go of that area. It's very bad what she's doing to it. It is not anything in there. She does not want her to feel or have the things that you do with your intimacy. She does not want to have anything to do with anything except for to take. And that's the one he's with. And he wanted to say something to her. And he says there isn't anything that you could really say except for she's bad. He said she's bad. You don't want to do this. He says also the purse upstairs, you can't leave it anymore because she doesn't want to stay away from it. He said there's 5 people in the room in there that keep coming over there to take family and damage them in the room next door. And they take them into the room while they're sitting in the room talking to other people. And they laugh and they talk and they're hurting her so bad. That's Abby. He says, you don't take person and do that. And I don't care what you were told. And I don't care what you think. And he said, that's one of ours. That's one of ours. That's one of ours. He said, that's I. And we need them to heal. So we asked them again to please see and gather and heal. He says, we ask you to use your gift to remove the people from where they should not be inside and where they should not be. The people that are using your gift to touch them. He said, the people that use gift to harm internal stopped. The people that use their gift to harm internal, but the people that are harming external, he said that if they harm, they're gone. I don't want them anymore. And he says, and that's what we told him. I don't want them anymore. So he went over to the one girl and says, I don't want to get rid of you, but I can't do too much because she cares. And he says, I'll make her not care. So they start to do things. He said, just do the sleep. And he said, no more doing the sleep. I don't want to have that. But he said, I don't want to have the thing where she can come over and make her family live. So he started to do things internal. And she says, why? He says, because they look at you, they see you, they think about you, and they feel and they want to be the one you're with. And the way that you are is the way that you are, but they think that it's something besides that. So we listen. He said, I took the time today to come back about 6 times. And he says, and you see 6 times to come over here to see if she could do anything, because they said yesterday morning that she would not have anything left to move. And he said, and I see, he said, we put back a bit, but they took it out. So they put back a lot and they took it out. And now she's sitting in it going about 20 more minutes when she gets upstairs and then starts to get tired. I'm just going to rip that right out of her and never again. Never again. She's going to come back and write a song that makes him look, going to have a thing on that she wants to wear, or wada. And that's all you're going to be able to say when she's trying to tell you, I'm in water and I can't get out. And she's going to be, well, did you want to say something about that? Stan said there's water outside and she puts her in it all the time. And then she watches her try to get out of it. And then she hurts her for getting out of it. And she hurts her if she doesn't get out of it. She said the baby that you didn't know what to do with was one of the ones that wanted to do the water all the time to make him not do water. And she doesn't want to do that. But there's other babies that do other things that you don't want to have. So he said what we'd say is this. They are all the way through that bone. And I said, stop. And he said, I did say stop. And I said, call the police and tell them she is not stopped when she's outside with the baby, and the way she does you, she does her. She does her worst because she doesn't have anybody to watch her. And that was the one that came in here. He says the other one sits outside all the time, and we have to get her to come inside because she doesn't want to get hit. And she was so cold she couldn't stand it. So I tried to warm her, and they beat her because I looked at her, and that was Sarah. And now you understand what it's like to have the family here again, because I told him, if you ever touch her again, I will. And she said, oh, and then I went to her house and I did. He said, I did do what I said I would do if she ever did that again to that baby. And then she came over with Scott, and then I took him to the police station. I said, he would like to have a talk with me in my room, and I don't want to have a talk with him, but he also has people in the room that he's hurting, and she's called you and told you, and I know because I watched her head. He said, I watched her tell them to help. I watched her tell them to stop. I watched her tell them to not do. I watched her try to call and have them come in. I watched her try to get them to move. I watched her try to care. I watched her try to listen, and I watched her try to not fall asleep because she could finally fall asleep without having him take everything out in the front. But they were not the only ones. Stan said it was the ones before that did the worst, but he'd started doing it 2 days ago, and I can't have that anymore. So we have to have you give your word, no more of that, but not leave and not be ugly and not be ugly, because you've got like 20 billion people thinking about you now, and that was 20 billion that weren't. And he says, thank you, thank you. And she says, now I would ask this, if you could please look at all, because they all need. He says she's always looking to see who can help and who wants to and who can and who cares, because he said the things that they said today were, she's not doing too much outside. I don't know why, and she's not going anywhere outside, and they're always outside. And she said she didn't, he said because it's been so terrible. And she said that because she has them inside and they don't know where they are inside, so they come over and see her. He said, I don't want to say too much, but they don't want to hear that. But they do want to talk about the other and this thing that you want to do with the three Grace Rocks. He said she might have something there, but she's trying to think. She doesn't want to get it. He said, does not want to infringe on someone else's title, their group, but he said, love their music. Stan says, doesn't know all of it, but there's a couple that she loves. He said, thinking about the music, thinking about the rock, and he said, I'm thinking about the family and who can help. I'm thinking about what they're doing to the internal and looking to see what else there is and thinking about who's in here and things. He said, that's what I want. The person that comes around and looks to see, are we here and do we need anything? And can I help you with something? And can I say something? And can I do something? And what do you need? And do you have? I thank you. He said, that's what I would say. And if there's anybody else that you know, then he said, then we say, I think that we should give you, he said, me the thing that you want. And yeah, I said, yeah. He said it was old Leroy. He didn't stop with you, didn't want to. And he thought, well, I'll just come do anything I want. And he has been, and you can't have him have the family either. And he said that was another one. She wanted you to know she's back. Your mother is here. She said that's why she says she's been sober all the time now, because she doesn't look at me like that. And Stan says she cares and doesn't want you hurt and doesn't want you not. But she said, Stan says doesn't not want you with us, doesn't want you to ever do the things that you were doing, and doesn't ever want you to not do the things you should all the time. And it's not hard. You just make it. Stan says you didn't want to not do good until you started doing the things that they do, and the things that they do are not good. And he said, and that's why we're saying don't do the things that they do. Do the things that you are doing when you realize what's important to you in this world, in every world. It's your family. It's your family. He said you've got family everywhere in the world watching to see what you're going to put out there now, because they want to know what that's about and what that's about, because you got people everywhere here going, what's that about? It's babies. And she said, and that's babies. He said the thing is that they are here. They are here. He said you can see a lot of them here. He said the one time when we first came in here, he said that was something, that video. He said, I forgot about that. He said she cleaned with wipes, and he said the gloves, you could see these plasma bubbles. He said you could see them formed, you could see them with the naked eye. And he said that's why, that's Donna trying to come in. We don't want that. So he said we'll stay and we'll see. Stan says we would ask you to heal so that we can all see. But Stan says, need you and ask you to please stay. And you understand the things that we talked about are not going to be this and this and this. It's going to be like different exchange of ideas, like it's meant to be like some of the best conversations. Stan says, we need the opportunity. He said, that's Andy. He said, trying to fit you for his dad. He said, we have a baby here. We don't want harm. We don't want harm. And Cole and Baby and David, he says that she's asking for them all the time. For the baby. He said, because there's a weapon that can have you don't leave. He said, please don't leave, and all this side is clean. He said that if you can come over here and say anything, I would say this. Some of them were talking about Three Grace Rocks because she said, why? He says, because she just took Abby. He said, you may not take Abby. Stan said, there's people in the room that just said, she's right here. Do you want her to stay? He didn't hear it. He said, I always want them to stay. He said, then bring Abby back. He said, Sarah just took off. Abby just took off because they took off because they told her it's time to go and they don't want to stay. Because they know, Stan said they are talking and you're not being heard because it was really cool and now he's trying to take it. Baby's coming. I don't know. He said, you've got to save the video because it showed her coming out, but he said you don't want to do this one with Leia. I guess. He said, I don't even know what to do with it. He said, we don't know what to do with this because he says, this isn't what you want your YouTube channel to be. And he said, no, but he said, I want them to see the babies and I want them to hear what there is to hear, but I don't want to have he says, doesn't want to make it a diatribe, want to really talk about something fun and informative. But he said, there's a lot of things that we need to share that we want to say. And maybe we'll just say this one. He said, we saw the picture of what she looked like. He said, I've already clipped it. We know what it was. Stan says, you need to save anything you record because this proves that you were here, but you don't want to have this kind of video on here. So maybe archive it or something if you can.